Hello and welcome to another video in Unity. So in this video we are going to make the inventory UI for our character. Okay, so I'm going to be using this asset by Ildaman. Okay, by Ildaman, this one, the medieval one. I'm going to be using this one for our UI. Okay, so yeah, let's start. First thing, we will go to Unity, import our assets, and then we will have them as you can see in the video here. Now I'm going to use the PNG ones. Okay, so let's open one of them first to check which ones we should be using. For example, this one. Yeah, we're going to use these as our inventory slots and these as our panel. Okay, so let's go ahead and start searching for the appropriate ones. So first thing, I'm going to find the panel. It should be somewhere down here. I think this one. Let's check it out. Wait, we must make a UI here, UI image, that we are gonna call it our inventory UI. Okay, now this inventory UI, we're gonna position it at the right side of the screen. Now let's give it a sprite, which is, I think this one is it. Let's test. Or no, wait, let's find the appropriate one. I think it may be in another one, maybe this one. Yeah, this one we're gonna use. So let's find which one is we're gonna use. It's gonna be okay, this one. Okay, the first one. So we're gonna drag it over, not like this. We're gonna drag it to the sprite in the source image, and I always like to preserve aspect to keep the scale a bit better. And when I click on canvas, I want it to be not constant pixel size, but I want to be responsive. So I would set it as scale with screen size and give it the reference resolution of one of the full HD one. Okay, and match half width and height. Then go to the inventory UI. We're gonna click this again. I'm holding Alt and clicking this one. Okay, now let's make it bigger by dragging like this. Let's zoom out a little to have some space and put our panel. But one thing I don't like is this brown line over here, so it should be hideable. So let's check other sprite. I think this sprite is not what we are looking for, or it's not correctly split. Let's try the first one. Yeah, I think this one might work. Yeah, this one is better and it has a closing screen, but I want it to be separate from it. So let's check. Okay, no problem. Look, what we are gonna do is click our inventory, preserve the aspect, click our inventory, but this one is not what we want. We will check another. Let's check which one is the ultimate, which we need. For example, we want this one. This one is perfect if we can find it. mm, this. Let's try this. No. Let's try another. Maybe this. This is not bad, but I'm going to check other one. This is, for example. So we're going to drag this first one in the second sprite. Yeah, this seems good. Okay, now we are going to size it according to our need. But I just want to edit this sprite a little bit in the sprite editor and remove whatever line is in here. So what we're gonna do is drag this down a little. Yes, then apply. Then as you can see, now we don't have that annoying brown line. Now this will be our inventory, and we are going to position it right in the center of the right side by clicking Alt and clicking this. Now we have it on this panel. Now we are going to insert a text, a UI, Text Mesh Pro. We are going first to import the package of Text Mesh Pro. Then we are gonna call it inventory. Inventory. Okay. Now let's make this one bold, auto size it, zoom here a little, and position it according to this box over here. Just like this. Then center this by clicking the alignment center center. Okay, now hit save. I want to move it a little bit up just to make it look better. So I'm going to do like this. Okay, save. Now we are going to have our slots over here. So the best way to do this is to actually create an empty one. We will call it slots inside of it. Okay. Now we are gonna position this slots according to our slots first. Now we need to bring our slots in here. So we are going to create a UI image. Okay, we'll call it slot. Then apply to it one of our slots. Oh, okay, we need also the closing button to be here. So in the inventory, create new UI image, call it close button. I like to position it at the top after the text, then drag it to here, apply the closing button to it, which was this one, close button, this one. Okay, it's a little too big. Let's position it like this. Preserve aspect to keep it nice and clean. Maybe make it a little bigger, like this. Perfect. Now we're going to attach a button to this one. Button, okay. Make it interactable with a color tint, okay. Keep these as default. Then on click, we are going to hide this whole inventory UI. So game object set active to false. So yeah, hit save. Now let's continue our slot over here. Now first thing, we're gonna apply two images to this one. The slot, which is the slot image For example, it's going to be this one. Okay, so let's drag this one to here. Now we have a slot image, preserve aspect as always. Now here we have our slot, and then inside of this slot we're going to create a UI image that says content, which will hold the sprite content. For now we will keep it like this, and we will make it match the inner side of the inventory like this. Save. Now this slot we're gonna make it as prefab. So go to prefabs, create a folder in prefabs, call it UI, and drag the slot inside of it like this. Now our slot will have the grid layout group like this. Now if we look closely, it's starting to align them. Okay, sorry. It's starting to align them. If we zoom out, it's starting to align them. Now if you make a lot of slots over there, it's going to align automatically. Now we want to find a good combination of slots. So I'm going to duplicate it this amount of times, then give it some padding on the left, for example 10, 20, 25, 25 on the right, 25 on the top, 25 on the bottom. Now let's make some spacing between them. So no, a little bit too much, maybe 10 by 10. It's starting to shaping out, but I still need to make it a little better. For example, let's give it more spacing, for example 15. Remove the right padding, we don't need it. Remove the bottom padding also, and make it 15, or reduce the horizontal, I mean vertical one. So maybe 5 is good. No need for vertical spacing, but it's still looking a bit off. So let's make the top padding 20 or 10, 15. Okay, 15 is good, and make the Y spacing 5. Yeah, I think this is good. We just need to adjust a little bit, move it down like this. 0, 0, move it down a little by moving it like this until you feel satisfied. So I think this is pretty good. So let's hit save. Now we have our inventory and slots. Now inside of each slot we want to also know how much we know for each slot. So why I made it a prefab is to apply it to all. So I'm going to go to a single slot over here and add another UI image which will apply to all, as you can see here in the game view. Now this small image, we will call it the count. Now let's resize it to be roughly around like this. We'll give it 20 by 20. This one will hold the count, and we'll give it a sprite of an empty circle like this one. Okay, this one, count this one. As you can see, now we have a small circle in the count. Let's make it a little bigger. Even if it goes like above, we can put it like this, a little bit to the outer side. I think this is good. Yeah. Now inside the count, or we can just put a number. Yeah, I like putting just a number. I don't want to make it more unorganized. So I'm going to UI Text Mesh Pro, make this text roughly like this, make it auto size, make sure it has a boundaries, small boundaries, put 0 for example to see how it will look like. Give it a yellow color. I like it to be yellow to be distinguished like this, yellowish. Okay, now we can make it the minimum a little bit bigger, for example 30 minimum size, then center this. Now as you can see, it applies to all slots because we are editing one slot prefab. Now we'll call this one count, and we are going to put another one UI. Let's duplicate the count and call it label and put it in here. Give it some width until here, from here to here. Make it a little bit smaller, make the minimum to be 25, and this one will be white. We'll call it example item and see how it will fit. So the minimum should be a little bit less. Let's make it 10, the minimum. So this one is example item. Now this will actually look better once we have, this will look better once we have our actual inventory icons. I just want to make sure that it will appear on top of the sprite, which is perfect. Now make it white, save the count. Now the count we will delete it because in default we will not have any item. We'll delete this one also, and the content we will make it alpha just to look better at the inventory. Now hit save, and here we have our inventory UI. Now if we hit the play, you can see that we can close this inventory by clicking at the button, and to toggle it on we are going to bind it to our I key in the keyboard. So inside our player controller we are going to update here and check if player input dot player dot interact. No, we need to add new one, which is open inventory. So let's create new one from the player controller by going to the input system, double click the input system actions. Here we can see all the player actions. In the UI you can see we have, no, these are not what we want. We want to create new action here, call it inventory, and action type will be button, and click inside of it, add new binding. Sorry, there is already one binding, so we are going to delete this one. Binding to the keyboard of I key, press the I, okay, and yeah, save it, save asset, then close it. Now if we go back to the script, type player instead of player input dot player dot inventory dot is pressed or was pressed this frame, because since we are using it in update, do not call it too much times. If was pressed this frame, then we are going to show the inventory. So we are going first to need the serialized field, a game object of type inventory. This will be our inventory UI, which will default to null. We're going to set it in the inspector. So now we can say inventory UI dot set active to true, like this. Save, then go back to Unity. Now we are going to click our player controller over play character, and inside the player controller we are going to reference our inventory UI by dragging it like this. Overrides I'm going to apply, or no need to apply since this one is we cannot apply to prefab since this one is in the scene object, the inventory UI. So hit save and hide the inventory UI by default. Hit save, start the game, and now you will see that when we click the I button, it will show. When we click on the X button, it will hide. Okay, now to make it toggleable by the I button, we want this one to close it, okay, but we want to make it toggleable. So we are going to simply switch this one to inventory UI.set.active active the scene active self. Okay, it's gonna be the opposite of active self. So this one will toggle the inventory using the I key. So not only it will open, but it will close it using the I key also. So let's test it. I'm pressing I, and I can still close it via the mouse using this one. So yeah, awesome. In the next video, we are going to look into programming and adding an actual inventory items inside of these slots and interacting with them. So yeah, that's it for this video, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.